A quarter of a century ago, the brutal pack rape and murder of a young nurse in Sydney's west horrified Australians. The tragic suburban killing of Anita Cobby generated fear and much soul-searching as to how this could have happened. One man's response was to write a play delving into the reality of male violence. The Boys shocked audiences and went on to become a celebrated film. Now the original production is being revived, forcing viewers once again to confront some disturbing questions. Sarah Dingle reports.
It's a play trying to explain how people can get to this state of their life, like how males can actually go through stuff and commit crimes, the crimes that they kind of have committed.
I tried to find other dimensions in them, and when you do that, some people think you're endorsing them.
How do we get that belt to go around?
Guided by a fight choreographer, actor Josh McConville is working out the mechanics of violence.
We don't need to do the pull anymore. We can just
maybe bringing the knife.
Josh McConville is playing ex-jailbird Brett Sprague, who brings disaster with him when he comes home.
Furious. It's been up the morning. Being treated like... I guess he's kind of psychotic in a weird way, but he's self-centred, he's sullen, he's a bit of an outcast, I think, and going to jail was one of the worst things that could have possibly happened to him.
The simmering violence in the character of Brett Sprague was inspired by events more than 2 decades ago, when 5 men abducted, raped and killed young nurse Anita Cobby. In the summer of 1986, the seemingly inexplicable violent murder of Mrs. Cobby prompted widespread outrage.
News of the arrest last night of Gary and Michael Murphy inflamed the anger of Blacktown residents. By mid-morning, there are at least 500 outside Blacktown Police Station, and the atmosphere at times was dangerously close to mob rule.
I suppose it was a reaction to the enormous interest and almost obsession with the Cobby case.
No one telling me you're sick.
Playwright Gordon Graham wrote The Boys shortly after the trial of the Cobby killers.
Goes out of his way to break up the family just when it ought to be staying together.
A common reaction was, but they all had girlfriends. How could they do this? Why would they need to do this? Like it was purely about sexual gratification, ignoring the fact that this is about power and domination and anger.
The longer we stand round moaning about it, the more it is they're winning.
Featuring a young David Wenham, The Boys repelled and fascinated packed audiences on its debut at Sydney's Griffin Theatre. It took viewers inside a disadvantaged Western Sydney family of 3 brothers, echoing the real-life 3 brothers involved in the Cobby case. But as the young men dominated and abused their girlfriends and mother, the play fuelled community indignation.
Some people took an interpretation of it that this play was saying that women deserve this sort of treatment, that they bring it on themselves, which is absolutely the opposite of what I was saying. But a very touchy, tricky subject. And I think the late 80s, it was perhaps harder to get that across then than it is now.
Yeah, that's right. Just fold up and let them trample all over you. Evil it is.
Nobody wants things to be this way. You know, everybody would much rather that we all got along. So when you put it up there in front of people as a gift to look at, it's always going to be controversial and it's always going to hurt some people.
Oh, yes, I see.
Jeanette Cronin played the most assertive female role, Jackie, in the original play and then the award-winning film of the same name.
You're a pig. And we all felt a hell of a lot safer when you were locked up in jail.
That's not true, Brett.
Oh,
David! I'm not giving you any choice.
Now she's shifted to the other end of the spectrum as the endlessly forgiving mother of the boys.
Well, if others come along spoiled, just needs to be me, brothers, doing what we want to do.
What do you do when your children aren't who you want them to be, or when they just won't behave? And I think that's a big question now. There's this thing of we can't get children to behave, and how responsible are you for that?
The Anita Cobby case, and then the boys, underlined an impression of violence in Sydney's West. With the work revived more than 2 decades on, the new cast went to Blacktown to research their characters.
You do see a lot of testosterone walking around the streets and trying to, you know, put their authority forward and make sure everyone knows who is boss, which I think in a way is what Brett tends to do.
This is by no means a general portrayal of Western Sydney, but I think you have to be able to look at the most extreme parts of society without being accused of tarring everybody with the same brush.
So now you got no rights at all, have you? I've also got rights. Stop making a big deal out of things.
And that's what the new production hopes to bring to its audiences. An examination of the real people involved in a murder, no matter how disturbing.
Look, we'll be quick, all right?
I'm trying to see how they could start off just blokes having a barbecue, drinking too much, a certain amount of anger pent up, a lot of frustrations, and it's how they get from there to going off in the night with really nothing holding them back.
Just get off my back, will ya? Let's just go and get this over with, for Christ's sake.
Sarah Dingle reporting there.